JJ, the whole premise of Mr. Katz's article of turning hate into love is very nice in the philosophical front and not. But the entire premise is completely blown away by the first 4 paragraphs, based on the idea that Donald Trump wants us to hate him. He wants to imbue hate. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There is no proof for it. Not any of his words. If you listen to his words truly, you really hear what he's saying. He's just mocking you for your ignorance. For your ignorance at thinking that government is the arbiter of all things and we must look to government. It's just strangely enough, it's some weird desire to recreate the Holy Roman Empire, but as the state being the religion. We're on that precipice right now. And this coronavirus is a communist plot. This is not Donald Trump telling me that. I'm quite along with everybody else in the rational and open-minded and truth-seeking. One thing I've learned about Democrats and Republican conspiracies is that Democrats' conspiracies are entirely based on fantasy, conjecture, speculation, and once again, fantasy. Republican conspiracies are based on fact and evidence. Republican right-wing conspiracies are true and can be proven and are full of evidence. Left cannot. And any that do are going to steeple into a kind of libertarian fog. There's no way to really have a proper critique of what goes on in government if you don't have, in what Rosa Luxemburg stated, history and economics. Who is Rosa Luxemburg? She is our beloved revolutionary sweetheart. She was really the Revolution Now Revolution Now proponent against the Soviet satellite, at the turn of the century, in the late 18th century, going into World War I. Going into World War I. So it was that generation. She ended her glorious life by receiving a blood flower to the brain and floated prettily down a river in Germany, as all communists should. It's my new thing. Blood flowers to the brain. Is it hate or is it love? Is it love to kill someone because their brains are destroyed? Yeah. Who knows? I don't believe Mr. Katz for very much of a minute. I believe that this entire article is him convincing himself that he doesn't hate, but he's drowning in his own hate. And that's a problem for the left. It's not a problem for the right. There is no hate like this of any type. There's hatred for government encroachment. There's hatred for oppressive taxation. What was the revolution of 1776 based on? Taxation. What were the English Civil War, all that prior to led up to the American Revolution? Taxation. What is my biggest problem with the Constitution? The 16th abomination. Jim and Spencer and I used to get in all of that. You don't understand the 16th Amendment if you agree with it. You don't understand America if you agree with the 16th Amendment. There's no possible way. No possible way. Anyway, thanks for the article, JJ. You've wasted my entire day trying to respond to it and having to read it. It's so very long. and pedantic and redundant, unfortunately. I really get it. I understand love is the seventh wave. I'm not, I'm not arguing with that. Grateful Dead, brother. And you don't have to convince me. What you do have to convince me of is that if I'm a Trump supporter, I'm a hater. You don't hate me because I love Trump. I don't love Trump. Nobody loves Trump except Trump himself. But the right isn't fooled. The right isn't under any delusion. The left is all delusion. I know. More than most people. You know, I've been on the ground. I worked for John Kerry's campaign. I went door to door in Buffalo. I went door to door in Buffalo in the early 90s. Regardless. Yada yada. There's Donald Trump is the Trump card to the world. Donald Trump flipped the fucking balance for the good because the balance is going beyond us. And now we're here. This could be the last laugh of Bernie Sanders and all the communists because they are desperately trying to take control. Democrat governors, like I say, I'm surprised Governor Brown has been as mild. She knows better. 99% of the rest of Oregon is red. Even Jackson County. Thank God Jackson County was red. I was one of 3,000 people in the entire state of Oregon to write in, because of course I wrote in Ted Cruz. I will most certainly be voting for Donald Trump this year in 2020, and I will, as soon as this shit's done, I'm going to be going door to door to ensure that Donald Trump is reelected. It is the most important thing that we're looking at right now. It is imperative that Donald Trump be reelected. Joe Biden is not the, anyway, if by God, I'll tell you, if by God Joe Biden was to be president, he wouldn't be president for 6 months. He would be incapacitated, and the vice president, whoever he picks, that's going to be president. So that's dangerous. And Democrat, this is the age of labels, my friend. This is the age of labels. And Democrat is Nazi. National Socialist is socialism. Doesn't matter. Don't give me any bullshit. I know. Spent 30 years at least reading and studying just on my own interest level. All right, we're almost reaching 9 minutes here. This is one of my better videos. I might send all of these to you, but I'll send this one first. I got a lot of responses on this video. But one thing you did is I didn't listen to any of my radio shows or I didn't listen to Glenn Beck or Ben Shapiro today. I do every day, as I've done every day for years. 5 years. Glenn Beck for 5 years now. After listening to Brunch with Bernie Sanders every Friday on the Thom Hartmann program for almost certainly 10 years since Air America. You know I'm a talk radio junkie. And politics is, if I had any gumption to really have been, this has been very tough for me being a conservative because I regret everything in my past. Everything. I've come to understand that to those people who say no regrets, I say regret is the most important tool we have to self-perfection. I got a lot of regret. I got so much to regret just today alone. All right. As I said in one of my earlier videos that you may receive later than this one, this is not over. This is not